We love to have the big guys join the fight.
Roll out! Wow, that was corny when I said it out loud.
You've never faced anything like this.
On guard. It's about to go down. On guard. It's about to go down. On guard. It's about to go. It's about to go. It's about to go down. Who won't smoke? Who won't smoke? Who gets one hoe? I'm the king. So everybody is a click strap and they all go. Keep a stick till I branch poppy, but I ain't a troll. On my mama, ain't nobody out here playing for no hoe.
If you keep your eyes open, life will show you everything you need to know.
Now that's top tier manifestation.
Slander on the banter, just one answer, I'm an animal. Gorillas in the trap with them.
We fighting this alone or we fighting it together?
Together.
Let's get it. Turn it up to the maximum. To the maximum. To the maximum.
Transformers: Rise of the Beasts.
Yeah, turn it up.
I'm never leaving Brooklyn again.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Ready Speaker. I am your host, Roland Rucci, with a film review. I know, shocking. And also shocking is I have a guest. Finally, all that asking, all that begging for people to be on this podcast with me and talk about a goddamn movie. I know no one shows up because if I'm alone, it only lasts 15 minutes. And now it will be like a 3-hour podcast, you know, and with tangents and everything else that I do. So my guest is Nick Leshi, who is my Albanian brother from another lineage. Actually, I don't know what it is. I have Leshi in my family too. He is a Leshi. I don't know what's going on.
I always say, if you dig deep enough, Albanians we're all related somehow.
We're all connected. We're all connected somehow. I have part of my family came from that part of the Albanian highlands. So we have some odd connection. Not odd, cool connection, I'll call it. And
I remember growing up too, my mom used to say, like, I would see like an Albanian girl and I'm like, oh, she's cute. And it'd be like, no, not even cousins. Like, we grew up in the same village. Can't marry her. We're like,
yeah, oh yeah, no, that's
like,
a big deal.
You know,
that's actually a big deal for us. You can't
because it was like they were like, you know, godparents, or they were
godparents, and even neighbors. If you share a wall, not allowed. Not that needs to be discussed on this review. But yeah, Albanians in the old country, if you share a wall, you cannot intermarry. You're considered family, and it's weird. I guess it's all, I don't know. It's cool stuff. But yeah, let's get this review. So I actually just showed the trailer for Transformers: Rise of the Beasts. I was very excited for this film. I hope everybody watched the trailer. I watched the trailer, and I'll give you some feedback on that. A couple of little notes on it, looking at IMDb, because I am that kind of IMDb whore and addicted to it. It's like, it is an addiction. So it's 6.5 stars, which honestly, I think that's kind of fair. Runtime is 2 hours and 7 minutes. It's rated PG-13. Director is Stephen Capel Jr. I assume that's how you pronounce it. Writers are Joby Harold, Darnell Metire, Josh Peters. Stars Anthony Ramos, Dominique Fishback, and Luna Lauren Velez. Now, I know there's a lot of voice actors. Those aren't listed, but those are the main live action people. Yeah, there are some really good voice actors in this. And some people, you know, shout outs to past Transformer movies and new up and coming, and Pete Davidson's in it, I think. Yeah. It's just Pete Davidson with digital voice. It's not even like him doing anything else. It's just they just layered it a little bit weird. So Nick, what do you think? Well, I saw it at Alamo Drafthouse. So I know Nick is like a real
big
connoisseur.
Alamo Drafthouse fan. You saw the one in Staten Island. I haven't been to that one yet.
Well, you gotta come. You gotta come out.
And, you know, Alamo Drafthouse is my like happy place. I love it.
You should definitely come one night. Come on Tuesdays, $9 ticket nights. Come down. Come down. Or Sunday, if you want, come down. We'll do a matinee. We'll hang out and we'll talk afterwards.
Absolutely.
Great. Yeah.
And Transformers is like one of those movies. You know, like I used to like the toys as a kid, the cartoons, and then the Michael Bay movies. They were good. You know, like they were action packed and like good in the sense of like a Michael Bay movie, right?
Yeah, I mean, definitely.
It's what you expect.
It had tempo, rhythm, explosions, everything.
And then you had Bumblebee, which was a total shift, different feel. I love Bumblebee. I thought
a lot of people like Bumblebee, and there was commentary. Is this equal to that? And I mean, I grew up. I didn't grow up with Transformers. I'm a little bit older. I mean, I don't look it, but I'm a little bit older, and they look handsome. But I remember the toys. My brother collected them. He was just a little bit younger than me. And but I do remember Beast Wars,
Mm-hmm.
which I watched all the time with my son. It was like, I think it was 96 or so. And we would watch a Saturday morning. I would get up my Fruity Pebbles bowl of cereal and sit there, and both of us would just really get into it and watch Beast Wars. It was like one of the best experiences for me for animation at that time. I love the way it looked. I love the storylines, everything. So I'm a geek at heart and ball by nature. So there you go. And so I was very excited about this, and watching the trailer, I was kind of excited about it because I really wanted to get into those stories of the Beast Wars, of that animation, of that aggressiveness, and that sort of flow. And that's what really called me with that series. And I think people were experimenting with animation back then. I was a little disappointed. I think the fight scenes are great. I think some of the animation is great. I think some of it's convoluted. Mm-hmm. And I think for me, compared to the trailer, I think it's actually two different stories. In the trailer, I get the feeling of the TV show and where it's coming. And of the film, once I got it, it felt like it was just set up for the new character and a new franchise. And it was all exposition.
Yeah.
I didn't need I know you're from the Bronx, so you don't want to hear it either. I just don't need another movie saying, yo, Brooklyn, yo. I just don't. I know that's like a P for you guys anyway. It triggers you guys.
Bronx strong.
Even for me, I'm like, stop with the Brooklyn thing. I get it. Lots of people. It's 4 freaking million people. Not everybody screams Brooklyn, yo. Stop. Stop doing that. But so go ahead. What do you think?
Nah, I mean, my kids saw the trailer and they wanted to see it. They were really excited. It's one of their top movies of the summer that they wanted to see. That along with like Spider-Man and all these other things. Yeah. But since I mentioned Spider-Man, like you said, I think this is setting up to kind of pivot the franchise into this kind of superhero-esque expanded universe. We'll get into the spoilers of it and everything. Yeah. But it's definitely setting up the human characters as becoming
the main
superheroes too, and then of course the cross with G.I. Joe,
I mean, it's almost like Professor X, with mutants. If you really think about it, I'm just hit on me now, but it becomes like it's his team, yet I mean, the story is that there's some cataclysmic event with some rough event. I'm stumbling my words. I apologize, but there's a big event on another planet, on Cybertron, whatever Tron, wherever the power is. And this one guy who wants to annihilate everything, he's a world eater, a la Thanos, and big skull in the sky, a la Guardians of the Galaxy. And these Transformers escape, but they're in animal shape, and they end up on Earth. And finally, this shard, this stone that can get them back home, becomes evident in an archaeological dig, and it's split between two places. And this is where my plot holes are. So you have this shard, and it's all in the trailer, so I'm not really even doing a lot of spoiler here. But that is a shard, and they have to unite it to get the power to return, so this guy can eat worlds, or he can just drive over and do it. I don't know. I'm like, why doesn't he just drive over and do it? Because he's a giant freaking head. So, but they need this thing, and when they do it, then all of a sudden these animal-shaped Transformers, who are protecting one half of it. And everything just shits the bed. You have Anthony Ramos, and let me just get his name here before I butcher it.
Yeah,
it's Noah. It's Noah Diaz. I liked him a lot.
Yeah, he was in The Heights. He's a good actor. He was in Hamilton.
He's a very good actor. I think he has a very good look. I think he's probably the strongest actor in the film.
Very genuine.
Very genuine
with him.
And he did what he could with the script. So I feel like it was almost, I don't know, it sounds weird, but almost Brooklified. Mm-hmm. So he had to fit with a certain type for that script, but he did it. He did it really well. He embraced it, and I think some of the delivery was spot on. Sorry, my phone I shut off, but it's still beeped. Freaking bastards!
You would be kicked out of the Alamo right now.
That's it. I would have been kicked out. I've seen those things, but then they got to give you my food on time. So it's a balance. Exactly. You got to give me my food on time. It's going to beep. It's okay. I'll move it over a little bit. It'll be a little less. It's fine. Doesn't matter. It's live. It's live. It's live. People deal with it. Nick knows about this stuff. He deals with live stuff. I deal with live stuff. This is what happens in the live world. It's not canned. So he's, I think, a very strong actor. The one I didn't buy was their relationship with Elena Wallace as Dominique Fishback. It seemed like they were trying to push some sort of triangle there. And at the end, there's a moment where he touches her face in a very longing way, which was weird to me. I think it was really just to get her hair out of the shot, but it came off like it was weird. I really do think that. I think, listen, you got to get her hair out of the shot. And the way he did it was like a sweet way to do it. I'm like, bro, that means you're attracted. like to her. That's like a big deal, you know, and that should be a big deal. Like that girl, you don't touch a girl's face like that. Is as two guys, we know you don't do that. That's a clear signal of like, I like you a lot.
Sending a message.
Yeah, it's a message. You're gonna meet my mom in about a week, and then we'll see where that goes. You know, so I don't know about that. The brother, I didn't need that backstory, and that was actually a big problem with
that.
this.
I think that humanized it a little bit. The little brother,
but it was too deep. It was too heavy. It was too like right away. Either they die or they don't. I'll take a Spider-Man. My uncle died, and I'm broken. Over, I've got to save my brother. Yeah, and he's going to get me over the line this time. So it's just too involved. It's just too much. I'm going to compare this a little bit because I think there are similarities to Tom Holland's Spider-Man franchise. So from when he did it, and the physicality, they're about the same. I think their delivery is about the same. I mean, not obviously voice, but I think their tempo and their earnestness to play it true is about the same. Okay. But I think with the script, I found things in bite-sized chunks that were okay and didn't pull me out of like thinking what the hell is going on. You know, when the story happened, there was a commitment to the story. You know, when the action happened, there was commitment, and he moved on. And he sort of like fell into it as a whirlwind. It's fine. This, I thought they were trying to be too street cred, too street tough. And I would shit myself if a robot, you know, came in front of me. You know, and I just said, "Hey, what's up?" I thought we were bros. You know, and they even like had a weird like innuendo joke, which is actually I was like, no one laughed in the theater. I was like, okay, you see, that's rough. That's rough. Yeah. No one laughed at one joke. It's like,
the adults when I went to see it, the adults laughed and the kids were like, "What?"
Yeah, well,
what just happened? Like the little kids.
But when you have to, you can never explain that joke. You see, that's the problem. You can never explain.
Well, it was the line like, "You were in me, bro," or something like that.
Yeah. You were in me. Yeah, I was like, okay, that's kids, probably.
The adults were like, even the adults was freaked out.
Like, you're like, okay, I don't know if I want that. Sometimes it's a PG-13, so sometimes you don't want that level of humor. Like I remember I watched a movie with Jack Black, one of the Jungle
Book?
Man, not Jungle Book. It was Jack Black. Not Jungle Book. No, that was a great movie. But the remake, the live action by Jon Favreau, was actually really good.
I loved it. I loved it better than the original.
Yeah, I thought it was really, really good. Yeah. It was with The Rock.
Oh, Welcome to the Jungle. The Jumanji.
Welcome to the Jungle, right. Yeah, I went to go see Jumanji, and all these people brought like their 5-year-olds. And it's Jack Black, and Jack Black is just ripping through all these dirty, jokes. Yeah. And I'm like, there's like a fellatio joke, like right in the middle of it. And I'm like, and I turn to my son, who's an adult, and I go, they know who Jack Black was? I was like, this is always going to be his bit. It's not the script. He put that in. Trust me. He put that in.
Yeah, he probably.
So because that's his style. So and again, I know we're going off on tangents, but that's my feel. I actually liked, out of these franchise films that just came out, Guardians, Volume 3, Spider-Man, the second installment of that universe, which I think there's going to be 2. It feels like it should be 2 more for my own reasons, but I actually did on my other review of that film, which I posted on here. I talked about that, and this one, I think this is my least favorite out of the 3. Wow. I think the heart that this film was looking for was in Guardian. Like it made me cry at the end. Like I was misty-eyed. I got it, and it was a rough start for me in that film. The Spider-Verse, I think also that was a lot of exposition setting up 1 to 2 more movies, and I felt a little cheated because I'm like, okay, you got my adrenaline going, but I need a release, and there was no release. Like there was no way for me to decompress from the noise and the volume. And this, I think, is just trying too hard to be a franchise, and I think it's good. I think the fighting's good. I like some of the animation, not all of it. I really wanted to see more of the beasts.
Yeah, I agree with you there. There's like a couple of them that I was like the cheetah one, you know.
Yeah, they're so interesting.
I wanted more of those, you know.
Like if you ever get a chance to watch the animated series, watch it. It's actually really, really interesting. I think it was only on for like 2 seasons. Yeah. But it was really, really interesting the way they did it. And I really enjoyed it. And I would love to have seen that a little bit more. I think they cleaned up the Transformers and they kind of dumbed them down a little bit in this one, where in the end, Noah has the plan. You know, which in any cartoon with any human that is associated, be they teenage mutants, be they transformed, be whatever, the human is actually kind of dumb. You know, the other creatures are the one that elevate the story and move the story. I felt they sort of reversed this to make a franchise.
Yeah, I think after a while, Optimus Prime is just two-dimensional, like
Yeah.
as the hero. So
Right.
I think that's the issue with like the first 5 Michael
Yeah.
Bay versions.
Yeah.
Like how much more can you go, you know, with it?
Yeah, but I would have went
So
straight
that's
with
why
the other ones.
Bumblebee was a nice shift because it
Yeah.
kind of humanized it. Haley Steinfeld is like, I love her. She
Yeah.
was the heart of that. That's why I kind of like Bumblebee a little bit more than this one.
Yeah.
It's a Transformer movie, you know, so
It's
you
fun.
can't really.
It's
when
fun.
you compare it, it's like
Yeah.
you know. But you mentioned like at the beginning when you went through the credits, there's like 3 writers who are credited. So when it's
Yeah.
like writing by committee, you
Yeah.
kind of know that for what we got. I thought it was entertaining, and they managed to put it all together. But yeah, you're gonna have those loopholes. You know, the MacGuffin of finding the sharks. It's you know,
Yeah.
it is what it is. So
No,
I
I agree with you.
element I tie together. But you have these beast characters. They're great. Part that maybe some of them needed a little bit more developing. I love the one that Michelle Yeoh, you know, the bird one.
The
I thought
bird,
that was great.
I
but
love
like the
that
rhinoceros
character.
one needed a little bit more.
I love Michelle. I love that character of the bird, Air Razor or something like that. I love that character. I remember that from even the cartoon. I think I remember from the cartoon. I will say this: sometimes I'm tired of actors who work too hard, and it's hard to avoid a movie without her. Yeah, it really is for me.
Right? Isn't she?
She is everywhere. God bless
her
her.
Voice, but her voice in this was
very
perfect.
distinct.
She has that like very
I think
careful diction, you know,
I
which
agree
works
with that,
so
but I think
well.
they
I
could have
think
gave
for
her
this
better
character,
lines
you know?
or more. I think they could have developed her more and leveraged that voice better.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like that, we're like actually what you just said, and it was an excellent point. Oh, I know that we've like beaten these, toys to death and made them stories and came to life. But we have to make them a little bit more than 2-dimensional. It can't just always be
for sure. Yeah,
and there is a story there. I mean, their plight is we want to go home and we'll sacrifice anything for that plight of 7 or 10 beings. And Noah's, and then they come to the realization we can't blow up a world and we're just as bad as them. There's such a good premise there that I think it could have been, again, it's a little bit more tweaking, maybe another writer to punch it up, to humanize it, to bring it into a better spot. And like I said, the fighting I think is great. I think some of the action is amazing. It wasn't deafening. There's some really good movement. I think there is some good chemistry with a lot of the people. I think it's worth a 6.5. I think that's my summary.
Yeah,
I think it's worth a 6.5.
If you're expecting the kind of movies that Michael Bay did, the action sequences are still there, for better or worse. But if you want a little bit more of the humanity to connect, I think the last 2 movies, Bumblebee and this one, kind of raised the bar a little bit because enough to I think keep us interested. Because how much do we remember of like the Mark Wahlberg characters or the Shia LaBeouf characters from the first few movies? Like,
I think Wahlberg still thought
Megan
he was
Fox,
shooting Planet of the Apes.
I just remember their faces. I remember them running around and things exploding around. I don't remember them really.
And there was no creep factor in this one because Bay had the creep factor with Megan Fox, and that was like whenever she was fixing the car, the whole theater got quiet. I was like, okay, bro. I was like, it's all over the place. That's
why I thought the last one with Haley Bumblebee, I thought it was really good. She played a younger character, and I like the fact that they're setting these as like prequels. Like, so the first one, Bumblebee, was in the 1980s. This one is in the 1990s. I thought that played a nice, had some good moments there, And
I'll tell you, thinking about it, I'm happy they didn't do it in the cornfield, which is usually like the MO for a lot of these films. They just like set up in the cornfield again, and they did it in an urban city. But you know what? Give Baltimore a shot. Let's give some other borough, some other extension of a New York East Coast city a shot. Give Detroit a shot. Give me a shout out to Detroit.
And for the car situation like that, wouldn't Detroit be a perfect fit, right?
Perfect fit. Yeah. So give me another place. I get it. We all want to be in a popular spot that seems to be, digestible to everybody and like seems kind of hip and cool. But there's tons of cities in this country that you can tell a beautiful story in and give a little humanity and show a different kind of struggle. Not that, this is one of the tropey things, excellent army officer can't find a job, and then like everybody hates him. I'm like, okay, you gave him too many superpowers that are, just uber human powers. You made him the ubermensch. I'm like, why'd you do that? Like you don't have to make him like this guy who does everything and it's just got, a bad card, bad hand at a poker game, and that's what it felt like. Everything was going right. No, nothing was going right for the guy. So let's make it in a city where nothing goes right. Let's make it where, 94, Detroit was dying. I'm just spitballing ideas. It's not as iconic as New York, but, they did Twin Towers, but it was a dying community at that time. Show me that decay. showing a car hiding in decay, not in a crowded city like New York,
especially a town that was built up on the automobile industry,
right, would make so much more sense. You know, even if it was like one of those, even if it was like instead of a Porsche, it was a Ford, you know, GT, you know, one of those new Ford GTs sitting there. I mean, that's even more iconic, you know, and everything. So, I mean, I think they missed the boat on certain cues.
That's fair. I think
that's all it is. It's not like it's a total miss. Like I said, it's above average. It's a 6.5. So I get that. I just don't think it's worth. You and I like going to the movies. That's fine. Yeah, I love going to the movies. And now I get my little rosé cider, and I get fancy there, and I know what I want, and it's awesome, and I like the experience. But I could have waited at home for this one. That's all I'm saying. And watch it. I tell everybody in every episode.
But then again, I think this is one of those movies that plays well on the big screen. You know,
with the big TVs now, that I got a 65 inch. Not bragging, but I got a 65 inch, and I'll tell you, I shut off the lights. I relax. I got a lounge chair,
and you don't get distracted when you're at home.
No,
I got a big screen TV. I don't have the big home theater setup, but I get distracted.
I mean, I'll get up, but I
being
had to go
in a movie theater and the reaction
movie, I still
with live with strangers around you and watching it live. I love that.
That made it a little weird. That made it a little weird. You like that voyeur thing? but I don't like anybody watching me while I'm watching. It's just weird.
I get you.
I
mean, the movie industry is, you know, has some struggles ahead. You know,
it does.
Same reason you said. Why should you know? I mean, the Pixar movie flopped. You know, Flash flopped. You know,
Flash. I'm waiting to see that. I'm just not going to.
I saw it.
You saw it? Was it dangerously bad?
Moments, you know, but I felt like all the surprises were given away in the trailer.
Well, even this trailer is misleading. I really thought the Beast stuff will be primary and really push it forward and open up a new world.
I really like the Optimus Primal and that Ape Link character that got killed at the beginning.
Yeah,
and I thought maybe they would bring him back somehow, because I found those characters interesting. But yeah, the Beast characters were kind of didn't live up to their potential. I thought that could have been a little bit more, because
that's probably my biggest critique. They're so cool, so cool, and it could have really gone to a really awesome place. And that's I think the most interesting thing about this. That there's this great. Hey, listen, they have time. I'm sure they're going to ramp up another, either a crossover to G.I. Joe or whatever, and it's going to probably kill. So there's time to correct all these issues. I think they need to expand on those characters rather than Noah Diaz, who is great, but in the lore, in the canon of these types of films, they're honestly they help get to they're a stepping stone.
Now my fear with the sequels is that they'll downplay the Transformers,
that's what it felt like,
and make the human superheroes.
They asked him to join G.I. Joe with your team. He doesn't own that team.
You need that tech. You need the cars changing.
Yeah.
My kids loved the Pete Davidson character.
It's great. So good tempo, and I liked it when there was a battle scene where the Optimus Primal transforms into a more robot. I wish they could have done. I know it was a great reveal, but I would love to have seen a little more of it. Or at least a little cheat of it, or a little peek. So then becomes like a bigger. Because literally my moment at that time was, why didn't they do this sooner? It's over 2 hours. I would like to have seen something like this sooner, just something, I think it would have kept me a little bit more engaged. So,
what'd you think of the whole, the morality play that they were playing with Noah's character? Like the fact that he had to do this to help his brother. He didn't want to steal. He didn't want to, I like that they're adding characters with like a moral fiber. But
I like it too.
I wasn't sure if they were pushing it a little too much and hitting you over the head. It's like the Superman Boy Scout.
I think that he was the Boy Scout for everything. And I think that's the problem, that he had a moral dilemma like everywhere he went. And I think that's the problem.
Which made his choice, the fact that he was the one that kind of pushed it and saved the world pretty much.
Yeah. No, he did. No, he's the one who saved the world and saved the team. But having him do so many moral choices through this process, rather than being, this is it. Right. Like the last Tom Holland Spider-Man with Jake Gyllenhaal, which I think was a fantastic movie. He has a moral choice in that, but it's really not that wasn't the last one. It was the one before last. It's really a clear line of his morality. It's clear. There's flubs and there's trips, But when he says, I got to save the world, that's it. There is no, wait, my aunt's sick still, or this and that. There is none of that point in him. He goes, I'm focused. This is what I got to do. And for whatever reason, this is where I am. And there are points of that. There's glimmers of that. But I think once we still, I didn't need his younger brother saying, we got this, bro. Because I think it just made it too street for me in that sense. Like bro, if you're not going to save the world, I know, like, you're a parent, I'm a parent, we have family and this and that. And when things, are real, your head's down, you do it. You don't need them to say, come on, seriously, do it this time. It's like, no, it's like, that's why I'm here. Yeah, I'm tired, I'm scared. But if you're in the throes of it and that's all you got, human nature, the human core is amazing. So, and that's actually what people, I think, probably should spend more time telling about how people just internalize that choice and go, because I'm sure everyone watching
it takes a good filmmaker to show that internal thing, though.
Maybe it's a maturity
and this
level
is
of
more
filmmaker.
an action kind of.
Yeah,
but I see your point. But that's why I raised up the question, because it does seem like they were hitting us over the head. With
it was too much.
And I like that. I like movies to have more of that, where characters choose what's the moral ramification of what I'm doing here.
What's the big picture? Yeah,
but I felt maybe it was. I mean, it's a cartoony kind of movie, So
it is. But once you go into the real world and you're making up this world, you're making up your rules of this world. I think, I mean, they're all stereotypes. I mean, Elena Wallace is an intern at a museum, but she's a genius, and the older white chick is taking her genius. This guy can't get a job because people see that he had to leave because he had to do something with his brother, was really sick in the military or whatever job, didn't understand. So everybody's like shitting on these people. And it just seems like, okay, how many times can we have a dilemma where their life sucks, they're going to freak out, and then they got to save the world, and then they just got to convince themselves repeatedly and think about every little thing they do about how they got to save the world. Mm-hmm. If you're going to make him a super soldier, he should be a freaking super soldier. He should be working security somewhere. He's a badass soldier. Just do that. I'd rather have a Liam Neeson, which I am not a fan of because of Taken, but I will always say that. But the fact that he's an ex-soldier and he's a security, it lines up. At least it lines up. Trying to get a security job at a produce shop doesn't line up. It doesn't line up. So the girl being an intern, when she's obviously a genius, even in '94, regardless of your ethnicity, doesn't line up. Because they were pulling geniuses left and right back then, because no one wanted to do that work anymore. Mm-hmm. So you had it. Those institutions help you with that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. It's a very finite group who knows that's much shit. So you excel. You do stuff. She wouldn't be on Ellis Island. She would be in a college going on a dig somewhere, and they would make sure she got on that dig if she's that smart. Yeah. And one of my holes was that half of that crystal, whatever it was in Peru. Great location. I thought they went a little James Bond with the festival though, and a little bit too much. So, but the fact that they had these aliens protecting that, yet when they dug it up in the Sudan, no aliens were protecting it. I was like, well, that makes no sense, because no one's chasing them. Like, what did they die from boredom? I was like, what happened? I needed more history.
Yeah, no, that's true.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm lacking the beasts. Mm-hmm. I'm lacking some of that suffering. And they were, once they got into it, the conversations got a lot more grounded, a lot more real. And I think that's the writers, they had developed those characters in their head better than the other characters. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And I think they fall into this trap of missing the opportunity that this franchise has given them, because there's this mythology that comes with the old cartoons and everything, and it's comic booky, it's simple mythology, but there's you were saying they just didn't. Here's these beasts that have been around since ancient times, and you
could have played on the beast being Egyptian hieroglyphic gods. You could have played them on being like Peru or Mayan, something like that.
And
they did a little bit.
Gives you that. Like there's this in the cartoons and what's happening on their planet and how it's the battle between.
I wish they showed more of the Peru culture even. I thought I would like to, and like that was like one thing, like one of the vehicles who's in Peru. It's like a beat up old VW, and I'm like, okay, that's like a little weird. And he's like, oh, you speak Spanish? And they're doing like, hey, we're connecting because we speak Spanish. So I'm like, okay, do you need to do that? Mm-hmm. I was like, they actually make a joke out of it. That's racist. But like, you didn't need to really do that. I'm not saying they can have as many accents as they want. It's fine. But I think there was a little stereotyping again there,
yeah.
which I don't think needed to be there. It's for comic relief.
Yeah.
But I think it was the wrong point. I think it could have been a better point of comic relief. I think it could have been just a little funner. And again, 6.5, I think is an admirable movie. First shot at a franchise. Not everybody does a Guardians of the Galaxy 1, moment.
Yeah. And when you're doing like making a toy line, it's easy to just say, okay, I need a rhinoceros, I need this, I need that. But when you're making a movie, you got to flesh out those characters.
Yeah,
and I think the cartoons managed to do that as a cartoon.
I wish they watched.
So I don't know if they want a little bit more. I think that's where it was lacking, because I think the human side, as much as I agree with your critiques about the human stories, but it's there. Like I think it did better than the Michael Bay movies.
Oh yeah, no, definitely, yeah. I expected more.
But yeah, I think I wanted more characterization on the the Transformers, right?
Like you said, even your kids really wanted to see this. Even my boys who are older, they're in their 20s, and we went. This was a family night. And they were like, we want to see this. I gave them options. Like, what else do you want to see? No, this is what we want to see.
It was fun.
Yeah. So it was fun. We had a good time.
For something that's a little over 2 hours, it goes by fast. It's not like, it doesn't drag.
Painful. Yeah. But it could have been a little better. But yeah, that's it. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think you're right. The number, 6.5, I think that's a fair
That's a good number. Yeah. Well, okay, Mr. Leshi. Thank you very much. Thank you all for joining us. Let's just again thank our friend Nick here for coming out and joining me. And finally somebody joins me again. He's been on the show before. So
anytime. I don't want to just invite myself over. You anytime.
No, the door's always open, my friend. The door's Albanians never close their doors.
That's true.
So it's always there. I'll send him a Turkish coffee, but that'd be nice.
Some
a little raki, some Turkish coffee, a little dried meats, feta cheese. It's a party. It's a party. So and everybody, please like, subscribe, share, please. If you want to get on the show with both of us, come on. We'd love to have a guest. I'd love to revisit a movie if someone doesn't like what I said about a movie or feels I'm missing something. And maybe I am. I'd love to be not won over, but I'd love to be educated a little bit. So and that's it. So from Ready Speaker, Roland Rucci and Nick Leshi. Bye, everybody.